Hello and welcome to week 1 of our digital series. Today we're going to talk about building a complete meal while I prepare a harvest salad. So today's salad's base is going to be kale. You really can choose any green that you want, but I wanted something a little bit more hearty since we're entering into the fall season. So one thing that I like to do when I'm cooking with kale for a salad, I like to marinate it with some lemon juice overnight. Today I didn't do that, but there's a little lemon in the dressing, so we'll be fine with that. So kale is a great source of fiber, and it gives a great crunch to the salad, especially this kind of kale. You can really use any sort of green that you want. Great sources of vitamin K with this. We want to add a variety of greens and colors into our salad, and so I like to start with a green just to check that off the list. Next, I'm going to add a cucumber just for another vegetable and just to add a little bit of a variety into what we're having here. So next, I'm going to add some chickpeas. So chickpeas are a great source of fiber as well as plant-based protein, especially when we add it to all of the vegetables that are going to be in here. So I'm just going to add some chickpeas in. I rinsed them already, and so they're ready to go and add into the salad. Another option too is if you prefer your chickpeas to be roasted, you can always put them in the oven at 450 for about 20 minutes. You can add a little bit of seasoning to whatever you prefer. Okay, next we're going to add our quinoa. So like I mentioned about the chickpeas, our quinoa is going to serve as a source of plant-based protein. What's great about quinoa is that not only is it a grain, but it is also a complete protein. There's only a few plant-based proteins that are complete on its own, and this is one of them. You'll hear me talk a little bit more about these complete and incomplete proteins in later episodes. So in our salad already, we have our kale as our base. We have our cucumbers for a little crunch and a little bit extra texture. We have our chickpeas that are serving as our extra fiber source, as well as our quinoa, which is our complete protein and also our grain. So right now with those grains, we have our carbohydrate source. We always want to add a carb to a meal because that's going to give us immediate energy. Like I mentioned about the quinoa being protein as well, that protein is going to keep us fuller for a little bit while longer. I'm just going to add a little bit of an apple. So this will be just for a little bit of flavor. Also, apples right now are in season. And so I always like adding some produce that's typical and special for this time of the year. And then we'll add some tomatoes. You can either have them or keep them whole if you're doing a cherry tomato, or dice them all up to you. Okay, next we're going to get to our dressing. So I'm going to mix together half of the lemon, or the juice from half a lemon, and then I'll add a little bit of garlic powder as well as black pepper and a little bit of ginger. So I'll add that. We'll add some red wine vinegar and olive oil. So like I mentioned, dietary fat is going to come from this dressing, so that olive oil is going to be the source of that. That is going to keep us a little bit fuller for a little bit longer. Also, the vessel for our body to store a lot of micronutrients into our body, specifically vitamins A, D, E, and K. Alrighty, now I'm going to add a little bit of red onions as well as some bell pepper, and then we'll drizzle the dressing on. Alrighty, and then you can mix it all up and enjoy. So just to recap, we talked about all the components of a balanced meal. A lot of times when we have salads, we tend to eat an incomplete meal because we don't add all of those elements. So you always want to make sure that you have a good source of carbohydrates, source of protein, dietary fat, and extra points for your fiber.